Hello everyone, this is Tamara, your courtroom companion. Welcome to the channel here. This is where we talk about narcissism, family court, and custody. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some tips that you can use to fight against parent alienation if you feel like your kids are being alienated from you by the other parent. And I'm also going to share with you a little bit about my own story with parent alienation, so do stay to the end to hear about that. As always, what I express here is just my own story, my own opinions, my own feelings. I'm not a mental health therapist, I'm not an attorney, so if you need that kind of support, please do reach out to those professionals for that support. Also, a reminder, please hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload my videos. All right, so the first tip, which might seem sort of counterintuitive to the title of this video, which is, the things you can do to fight against parent alienation. The first tip that I'm going to share with you is to actually stop fighting. Parent alienation can be very, very gut-wrenching. It just destroys the other healthy parent in ways that are kind of indescribable. And by the way, if you haven't seen my other video on what is parent alienation, and I'll link that in the cards above and in the description below, I talk about like what is parent alienation in my opinion, and I just share with you some examples of how that might show up in your life if you're dealing with someone who is alienating your children against you. So do check out that video if you haven't already. So back to the first tip. So I'm going to suggest that you stop fighting. And I know that seems like, like why would we do that? And some of you may be wanting to jump through the screen right now to say, no, that's the wrong thing. But let me just tell you from my experience why I believe that stopping the fight is actually in your children's best interest. If parent alienation is occurring, you can't underestimate the power of that, what that process is. It's the other parent actively and secretly trying to condition and brainwash your children to have the same disdain towards you that other parent has towards you. You cannot underestimate the power of that process. So the thing about it is, if that other parent is doing that, you really can't stop them. Sure, you can go through the court system, but you're going to have to prove it. And it's such a controversial topic, it could actually backfire on you. And there's all kinds of research and stuff out there that you can read about. And I'm not saying don't go to court and try to fight it. I'm just saying you have to tread lightly on that. But in the meantime, you have to be really careful, because your children, if parent alienation is occurring, they know something's off. If they're old enough. I'm not saying little small children are going to be able to tell, but eventually they will be able to tell. And if they feel that they are in the middle, which they likely will, they're not going to feel safe around either parent. Children of all ages do not want to be put in the middle. So you as the healthy parent have to decide whether or not you're going to keep your children in the middle. It takes someone really healthy and someone with a lot of self sort of confidence in knowing that you're a good parent, regardless of the circumstances, to be able to kind of step aside and stop the fight. If you step away, there is no fight. The children will then start to feel that at least one of the parents is putting their children first. They won't be able to say those words in their mind necessarily, but they're going to feel that they don't have to be as careful around you as they do the other parent. So again, if you stop the fight by stepping away, you are literally not making it about a battleground for your children. The battle then becomes between the child and that parent that's trying to alienate, not between the children and both parents. It gives that child a safe place to go to your home if they know that you are not in the fight. And it's not to say that you're going to go to them and say, oh, I'm washing my hands of this, I'm done. But in your actions, they're going to realize that you're not in the fight. So one example might be if your child is, undecided about, let's say, I don't know, let's use holidays, for example. If there's a court order in place for holidays and there is maybe some leeway, for example, in the holiday schedule, like, it could be 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock. I'm just trying to think of an example on the fly here, but you can say to your child, listen, I'm okay either way. Whichever way you decide is fine. Like, I'm good with it. I know that, you and I will spend time together the day before, the day after. Like, continuously send messages to your child that you're not in it. Like, whatever they want to do is fine. And obviously, if they're much smaller children, they can't make those decisions. But I think it's as the children get older, when they start to realize something's off, that you can be that parent for them. So if you have other examples of like ways to kind of not be in the fight, please do leave it in the comments below. Our community would love to hear about them. So that's tip number one, just kind of step away and not fight. And that is not saying that you don't love your child anymore. It's not saying that your children aren't as important as they were, before you made the decision. It's that they are important, and they are the most important thing right now. And so stepping away and letting them know that you're safe is the best thing for them. Tip number 2 is to show your child that you are the healthy parent. You're going to put their needs above everything else. And so that means that in every word that you say, in every action you take, you are putting them first. So you're going to be providing a home to them that is free for them to sort of express themselves authentically. Because one of the things that happens with a child who is being forced to alienate from the other parent is that they can't live authentically. It's not natural for a child to not want to love both parents. They are inherently want to love both parents. So when they're forced to do something other than that, it makes them live unauthentically. And so your home should be a place where they can be themselves. You want them to know inside your home that they don't have to choose between the parents, that they don't have to choose which parent to love, that they're free to love both parents. And I say that around here all the time. Even though I don't care for his father, I always say, here, you're free to love both parents. Like, you can love both parents. I'm good with that. That's what I want for you. You should love both parents. Like, I say it all the time, so he knows that he doesn't have to not do that. Show them in your actions and your words that you're the opposite of the other parent, because that's what they need. And your home should be a place where they feel comfortable and safe, and that the feelings that they have around you are not the same ones they have around the other parent. Because if the other parent is alienating them, there is a lot of sadness in that. They feel they're betraying the other parent, and the parent that's being alienated, the child might feel that they're betraying you. So there's a lot of sadness involved in that, and you want your home to be free of that. Show them that you're not in competition with the other parent. When it comes to holidays, or let's say there's a school function. Let's say you have custody of the child that day and there's a function that evening, maybe an assembly of some sort. The child should not feel like they have to sit with you or you're going to be upset with them, right? Let them know they can choose where to sit. And if they're being alienated against you, chances are they're going to choose to sit with that other parent. But to me, that is a place where you can just kind of pull yourself. You're not in the fight. Sitting with you that night is not going to make or break your relationship with your child. So don't be a part of that problem. And if they say, I want to go sit with mom or dad, whoever the parent is that's alienating you from them, say, okay, no problem. I'll see you soon, or see you after the assembly, or I'll catch up with you after the program, or whatever. In your home, just keep the lines of communication open. Just constantly, check in with your child, check in to see how they're doing. So again, tip number 2 is just show your child that you are that healthy parent in everything that you do and say around them. Tip number 3 is to tell yourself and believe that this moment in your child's life, meaning their childhood, is just a moment in their lifetime, right? So yes, childhood lasts 18 years. I'm not trying to minimize that, but they have a lifetime ahead of them. So this is just a moment in time in their life, but it's not the end of the story. The end of the story is much later down the road. It may feel like a lifetime right now if your children are displaying hatred or disdain towards you right now, but again, it's not the end of the story. our children become adults at some point, and they will come to realize, with you being the healthy parent, you stepping away from the battleground, these children are going to become adults one day, and they're going to think back to their childhood and remember the feelings that they had around you. They're going to remember the memories that you created for them. They're going to remember that they were free to love both parents. They're going to remember that you did not make them choose. And if you are the healthy parent and you've been providing this healthy home to them, at some point when they're an adult, they're going to come to realize that they were kind of duped by the alienating parent, and they might have a lot of regret about the way that they treated you. And in that moment, and in those moments when they sort of figure this out, you're going to be the same parent you always were. You're going to love on them. You're going to just show them that you have compassion for them, for what they went through, because being a child that is being alienated from another person, from their other parent, is a horrific experience. It's gut-wrenching for the parent who's being alienated against, and it's horrific and horrendous for the child who is going through it. So when your children become adults, you want them to have those good feelings about you. And so being a part of the problem now is not going to result in that. What would happen is, probably when that child grows up to an adult and later on, 20s and 30s, they'll probably step away from both parents because they're likely sick of the parents by that point. So you don't want that to happen. So it's almost like you're choosing the lesser of two evils right now to kind of, in a way, release them from the burden. And so it takes a really healthy parent to be able to do that. It's sacrificing a lot right now, but again, it's just this brief, short time in your child's life that you're doing this for, and then the goal and the hope is that you've instilled enough love in them to where they will come back, I guess. I hate almost saying that, because you're almost saying, well, I'm going to lose my child, but in a way, it's the only hope you have of not losing them. That's in my opinion. And one of the sayings I always say to myself, and still to this day say, and I've said it for the past 8-9 years, however long I've been going through this with my child after our divorce, is that you cannot make true what is not true. So regardless of what the other parent says about you, he can't make it true, or she can't make it true. There's no, if it's not true, it's not true. So he can tell your children, or she can tell your child that you're a horrible parent and you're whatever. They can say whatever they want. But if there's no evidence and it's not true, then the child is only going on what that other parent is saying. So yeah, the child is susceptible to believing that right now and may start to act out about that belief. Like, they might be starting to show you hatred because they're starting to believe it. But when they get older and they start to have questions and they start to connect all the dots, they're going to look back and realize that, oh, my dad used to say this about my mom, but gosh, I never saw that in the home. Gosh, I never remembered that part. Let me start to research this. And they're going to start to realize that it's not true, right? So I don't know, that phrase always just helped me. He can't make true what's not true. So I just really believe that. It helped me. I hope it comforts you as well. So now I want to tell you a little bit about my own story, maybe to give you a little bit of hope. So my ex-husband started his, parent alienation behavior probably before we even separated, certainly right when we separated, and ever since then. And it's vicious. It shows up in lies. It shows up in manipulation. It shows up in information he knows about my home that he couldn't have received unless he got it from my son. And it's not even bad information. It's just everyday living. But he'll then twist whatever is told to him. But it's the grilling of our son that is the parent alienation. He takes it and then he twists it around and then sends me nasty emails about stuff. I don't listen to them and I don't respond to them, but nonetheless, I still receive them. People that know my situation in my own life have said to me that they've never seen anything more horrific about what happens with the parent alienation in my story. It is long-lasting, and it's hard to be the parent that has to step out of the battleground, but what I have come to know is that it was the best decision for our son, for me to, in my home, to make sure that he knows he doesn't have to be in competition. I'm not in the competition. I make him very aware that he doesn't have to make those choices in my home. And so what I've come to see, though, is that he's getting a little older, and he's begun to share with me things that I know prove that he gets it. And that is very comforting to know that he is getting it. He doesn't get it all. Obviously, he's still a child, but he's starting to get it. And I hope that brings you hope. I hope that by sharing my own personal story of it's stepping away from the battleground, providing a home free where my son is able to express himself authentically, it's working. And I hope that brings you comfort. So I realize if you're a parent who is going through this and the other parent is trying to alienate you, I know that it's very, very painful. Hopefully by coming to this channel, you will, receive some, support in this area. Know that we understand it. It does get better if you can maybe adopt some of these tips that I'm sharing with you. I can testify to my own story that it does get better, and down the road your children will come around. That's my hope, that's my belief. And so I hope this video was helpful to you. Please leave us a comment below. Let us know your experiences with parent alienation, or if you have additional tips, we'd love to hear about them. See you next time. Bye-bye.